Hello there, William. What are you doing dressed as a turkey?
Whatever do you mean, Nathaniel? I am dressed for our costume party on the boat.
Oh, William, I think your reins are twisted. We are not having a costume party on the boat. For goodness sake. Many of us are Puritans. Smiling is frowned upon.
Well, that would explain why my wife always seems to be so miserable. Nathaniel, if this is not a costume party, why are you dressed as an Indian?
It is time for us colonists to take a stand against the king and all of England. They have used and abused us too much. Tonight we are going to dump chests full of tea into the Boston harbor. I guess you could call this event a tea party.
That sounds like it will anger the owners of these ships. Why would you do that?
By dumping these chests of tea that were imported from England, we will be challenging British rule and authority. After the Tea Act of 1773 was passed, the British East India Company was given complete control of the tea trade. The company now sells its tea directly to shopkeepers, instead of using colonial merchants.
When you put it that way, Nathaniel, I could see why you may be a little disappointed, but the British East India Company was in danger of being ruined. Why do you want to partake in a public demonstration in which you will not only be aggravating the company, but the king and English leaders as well?
You see, William, that is a question with many different answers. England has caused a lot of trouble for us colonists, besides just passing the Tea Act. The king lives so far away. He does not understand our wants and needs. Plus we have been bullied by the English army and leaders.
Why, I do not think I understand what you are talking about.
It seems you have been living under Plymouth Rock for a while. Let me give you some specific examples. After victory over the French, England passed the Proclamation of 1763 in order to protect its colonies and other land interests. With this proclamation, England also prohibited any colonist from moving out west past the Appalachian Mountains.
Ah yes, the Proclamation of 1763, I remember that now. It was an important step for England because they wanted to make sure they kept colonists near the coasts so they can trade with them. Also, it helps to prevent fighting with the Native Americans. Plus, you love it here in Boston. Why would you care about this law?
While I do love where I live, that does not matter in this case. The English do not have the right to dictate where colonists can move or live. But the Proclamation of 1763 is not the worst of their doings. The British have also inflicted harsh taxes upon us.
Really now, William, you know better. They needed to enforce the taxes they already had in place. Plus the new taxes they have levied have helped to raise new revenue for British expenses.
Yes, but we live in the colonies, and the British live in England. They should not be taxing us without our representation. Anyway, after the enforcement of taxes, many of us colonial merchants turned to smuggling goods in order to avoid taxes. Then Parliament authorized the writs of assistance which allowed any customs officer to enter any shop or location to search for smuggled goods.
Smuggling is illegal and the great George Grenville and Parliament had every right to pass the writs of assistance.
I now understand why your wife seems to be so miserable. Anyway, Nathaniel, I will still prove to you why we need to have this demonstration. While Grenville thought that passing the Sugar Act of 1764 would please us because it lowered taxes on imported molasses, in turn it really angered us. This act also allows customs officials to seize any goods from smugglers without even going to court.
That does not bother me because I import all my goods legally like I am supposed to.
I am just going to ignore you. Between the Stamp Act, which placed a tax on most printed materials, such as newspapers, and the Townshend Acts that places taxes on imported goods such as glass, tea and paper, we colonists cannot take it anymore.
Nathaniel, you and the other colonists need to calm down. It's not like there was any bloodshed over these mishaps.
Are you kidding me? You live in Boston and did not even know about the Boston Massacre?
Oh, you mean that snowball fight? I thought that the soldiers were just trying to control a mob of unruly Bostonians. I can barely remember what happened. I got hit in the head with a snowball and for some reason passed out.
Well, thank you to whoever put the rock in that snowball. but I am completely outraged at you thinking this was just a small matter. You know that the British violently attacked and killed completely innocent Bostonians. It was such a malicious act of violence.
You really need to calm down over this. Occasionally disagreements lead to little violent disputes. You should just resolve this issue diplomatically.
After boycotting British goods, creating colonial organizations to protest the British government, and circulating pamphlets against the British, we now need to take extreme action.
Well, it has been nice talking to you, but now I will sadly have to tell the British officials what is going on here.
It seems that tea will not be the only thing floating in the harbor tonight.